Thou that sleepest, arise from the dead.
Read the Bible, you find out that God's not too happy with what's going on around us.
Redeem the time, because the days are evil.
The Bible has not changed.
Boldly proclaim the restoration and preservation of Christian values in America.
Satan has brainwashed a whole nation.
As goes the church, so goes the nation.
Nobody's convicted of anything anymore.
And now, here's Last Call with your host, B.J. Edwards.
Morning. Hope you're all doing well. It is not an invasion. It's just an occupation. You know, when you have a war and you lose the war, you get occupied.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a new job.
No.
Terminology. We got to watch our words.
Yeah. Our good friend Norm, one of our panelists, regular panelists, is not able to be with us today. His wife Kim passed away this past week, and condolences. And we pray for healing. That's never easy to be. I mean, after 40, 50 years of marriage, wow. Just a vacuum.
I have a friend at church who was married 72 years.
Ooh.
His wife just passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
They're in their 90s, but still, he's like, you know, every day they've been together. They're also missionaries in Taiwan, so they prayed together, played together a long time. It's rough, you know. And Leanne losing her daughter.
Yeah.
A lot happening.
Interesting times. We're going to talk about not Springfield in Springfield, Ohio. I know you're all curious about what is going on there and the amount of visitors they have from Haiti, if that's the term to use. Somebody walks into your house and the door is unlocked and you find them at the table eating. That's just one of the family now. Sorry, we'll get into that. You're about to listen to 2 hours of opinion and entertainment supplied by Last Call Radio. We're not where you can see the difference, by the way. We're not doctors, lawyers, politicians, professional journalists, nor do either of us hold a doctorate degree in anything. Not that would make any difference. Our opinion, of course. We only ask that you as an individual and or corporately not take our statements or those that we voice from others personal, nor do we recommend that you act on this if there are facts, although they might very well be just that, facts. Again, our opinion. Once again, you're not required to listen to, act on, or repeat anything you hear today, and that any information or opinion we present is meant for the good of the order and by no means intended to harm or threaten anyone. And please consider following us on Rumble. How you doing, Mr. Anderson?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, and I just hit the 75 mark yesterday, officially.
And three quarters.
My kids are having fun reminding me that I'm getting old.
And you're going, hold on a second. I don't need any reminders.
That's right.
I can do that on my own.
Next time I try to climb a tree, I know that I'm old. I don't do that. That's why.
I want to get into our Springfield guest here shortly. Just a couple headlines I'm going to read and maybe details of this story. You might get the lady that wrote this, Dr. Margaret Aranda, on. But the headline is, when doctors go on strike, there's a paradoxical drop in mortality rates. One of the most
I had to think about that for a second.
One of the most counterintuitive findings in medical society is this: when doctors go on strike and limit care to emergencies only, overall population death rates often stay the same or drop noticeably. I'm going to try to get the good doctor on the program. Texas puts the Bible back in the classroom, and there's panic at this point. It's very interesting to see the dynamics between what you'll call conservatives and progressives or liberals, and the cauterization that's happening, the hate that is growing on both ends. And I'll be honest with you, some of the insanity of that officials, the decisions are making are some of the public servants. I'll say especially in the blue states, but it is not limited to the blue states. Ohio is one of those states. They call us white. I'm sorry, they call us red and the other side blue. So Ohio is supposed to be a red state. But we want both of them moving towards the white in the red, white, and blue. That's the unity point, folks. Did you want to say something, Mr. Anderson?
Oh, I was just agreeing with you. What's happening to Ohio is very disturbing. And I know it's been going on for quite a while. And I'm sure we'll hear some testimony of that from our guests today.
Eyewitness.
Springfield happens to be an Ohio town, right?
Yep. And they did have an Haitian influx. I personally would call it an occupation. I think, and our guest James can straighten me out, either 1/3 or over 1/3 of the occupants of Springfield now are of Haitian descent, I guess is the best way to say that. Again, James can clarify that when we bring him back in here. I'm going to read this, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to bring our guest James on. Speaking of Ohio, the governor, Mike DeWine, this is Jack Windsor comment, is clutching his pearls over the Supreme Court decision to honor the word temporary in temporary protected status and uphold the order to end TPS for Haitians. This is rich when you consider how the same governor has handled other situations. Billions flowing through Ohio's Medicaid system that may have been wasted, fraudulent, given away, or landed in the hands of bad actors. The Ohio governor, Mr. DeWine, said that's just the cost of doing business. THC gummy companies that cried foul when the state outlawed their products outside the state certified dispensaries, costing them millions in losses, were basically told they knew they were taking a risk. The same governor now acts surprised when in reality, he and Haitians who came over here from the TPS protection knew or should have known the implication of that status. Their expectations was not going back home, folks. They want to stay in the land of milk and honey. I put the question directly to the DeWine's press secretary, Tom Tierney. Isn't that just the cost of doing business for those businesses and those who came here under TPS, knowing that temporary doesn't mean forever? Additionally, is Governor DeWine saying he will drag his feet, of course he will, and make enforcing the decision now upheld by the Supreme Court more difficult or perhaps more expensive? Folks, we have a republic. I hear the term democracy a lot.
Too often.
That's a process. But you have to, for example, be a U.S. citizen in order to vote, or at least you should. That's the process. That's the guardrails. That's necessary.
Well, it used to be a little tighter getting voters anyway. In the beginning, it was the interest of landowners.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. We're talking early on in the United States. Go ahead.
Back in the good old days, if we can say that, you know, it's like people claim they have a right, but there's something to earning a right or keeping a right. I don't know how to explain it, but simply put it, if you're a voter, you ought to have skin in the game.
Amen. Amen.
You know, it's not, and the skin isn't a handout. It's what you have invested personally in what's going on.
Taking advantage of the numerous opportunities here in America. But why are they straining to get in our doors, folks?
Occupation by occupation.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Absolutely
like
amazing.
that.
You got a song up there we could play during the break, maybe, Mr. Anderson?
Oh, I got a couple if you would like.
Yeah. It's just overserve me, would you?
All right. We're going to break.
I'm in America. I want to be overserved.
All right. Well, I'll play the one with the American flag in the background.
All righty.
You wake up one morning, realize the country you grew up in doesn't exist anymore. You're asking yourself, when did it happen? And can we restore what came before? And if we can't, you're thinking this nation might not have a future, when every headline, every teacher's lesson feels like some strange new culture. All the so-called political correctness, if you can't say what a woman is, you're just ignorant, twisting language into something hit or miss. People don't know how to be polite to each other anymore. They tell me there's something wrong with me if I can't accept more than two genders at the core. I have a hard time accepting ignorant people, and they have a hard time accepting me as equal. A divided America, standing on the edge of time. Red and blue are shouting, but we've lost the common line. We used to fight like family, now we're strangers in this land. A house that's split in two can't stand. We've got to learn to stand hand in hand. These young ones are being taught to hate America, told that it's only oppressive and evil hysteria. There's a long list of things wrong with this country, that's true, but oppressive and evil aren't at the top. They're just part of the view. Still, I fear for the future of America's name. The government and our education system could be to blame, but we must all accept some responsibility. After all, we voted for them to govern in our name and liberty. All I know is American pride needs to make a comeback, loving the flag for what it represents, not just the red, white, and blue. Now I don't have all the answers, but I do have a plan. It starts with remembering that in this country we're one people, not just clan against clan. It's all for one and one for all. That's the creed we once all knew. So when you hear something said that makes no sense to you, remember, the ones saying it are Americans too. Let's help undo the damage our institutions of higher learning have done. Teach love of truth and freedom back to daughter and to son. And last but not least, when the swamp gets too deep to crawl, let's fire everyone in D.C. and start over, just like our founding fathers did when they answered freedom's call.
keeping you informed. This is Last Call with BJ Edwards.
I'd say that kind of describes where we're at in America today. Divided.
Pretty well.
Borders, language, and culture. Those are the keys to your nation. Borders, language, and culture. You want to destroy America, you want to destroy a nation, dilute those three, and they'll take care of the division that needs to happen, as you can see in America today. We're going to talk to James Blanken. James is a resident of Springfield, Ohio, a business owner, and is paying attention to what is going on in that area. And I've been curious. You hear things on the news, okay, and you hear people reporting, okay, but you don't know where they're at. You don't know, what they're doing in the area. So why not go to somebody that's been down there for a while and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And how can we help? James, come on down, brother.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Springfield, Ohio. How long you been there?
Well, I was born here, so I'll be 61 next month.
Okay, you're a young man. Go ahead.
Well, I think it pretty much covers it.
3, 4, 5 years ago, describe Springfield.
Springfield, it has this declining population at the time, and a lot of homes were empty, and I could see where they needed to get jobs in here, because I'm still a little perplexed how they didn't have any jobs, and all of a sudden, just a few months before the TPS people start traveling over here, all of a sudden there's all these job openings in this area.
Temporary Protective Services, TPS, folks.
Yeah, y'all. Sorry, yeah, I can.
That's
But
okay.
so it always led me to believe that, when one thing happens by itself, it may not be that big a deal. And I like to connect the dots. But when you have something over here that happens, something over here that happens, and all these things come together, you can tell it was a thought out plan. Now, I don't think they expected it to get out of control like it did. And they've even admitted that, Carl Ruby did. But, it was still
Who's Carl
halfway.
Ruby? Who's Carl Ruby?
He's the pastor. He's head of that G92, and I think they call it Welcoming Springfield or something like that. When we get a chance to talk to Diana with you guys, she is dug real deep into the NGOs of Springfield. You know what I mean? Because what they always say, follow the money.
Yeah, not non-governmental organizations, big business, etc., that like to prey on our taxpayer money and our citizens. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the way they act like there was jobs here and nobody to fill them, that's disingenuous. That wasn't true. These jobs started popping up when these deals were starting to be made before the temporary protected status people got here. People started buying homes, rental properties, temp service set up shop, to cater to the Haitians. Our local leadership started purchasing homes, duplexes, stuff like that. It's like they anticipated this, they wanted this, but they didn't ask anybody who lived here if we wanted it and if we could even handle it. And I say this, I've said this many times, and sometimes it's an unpopular opinion. If they would have just brought in like 5,000 and then you had some kind of infrastructure set up to where they could teach them how to drive, teach them English, teach them the rules and the laws of the land here, and do that way, I'm telling you, you probably would have never heard about Springfield, Ohio. But they
What's the
screwed
population?
up.
What's the population in Springfield approximately?
Was 58,000, and you can't get a determined number on the Haitians because it fluctuates. It's been as little as 12,000 and as high as 20,000. And people say, well, how do you know as high as 20,000? Well, when it was at its peak, drive around this town and go to any department store, any grocery store, it stayed packed. But when they first thought the TPS was going to be, dissolved or ended, a lot of them started not necessarily self-deporting, but at least renting U-Hauls and leaving Springfield. So it got back down to probably around between 12 and 15.
Okay.
But the unusual thing about that is up until just a few weeks ago, they were still being shipped in here. And, I have my opinion on that, and it is based in some facts. That's for sure can be, as I say, show receipts. But it made no sense why they kept sending them in here when TPS was supposed to be ending, but yet they were still coming. So, but I know why, because the immigration lawyers and the NGOs are here in Carl Ruby. So this is like a jumping off point for everywhere else in the country for the Haitians.
The churches seem to be a big player here. Am I overestimating that or not?
Oh, no. You're exactly right. Now, to tell you each one of their names of the churches, Diana could do that better than me.
Don't need that.
Donna may know it. But they worked hand in hand with Carl Ruby and the mayor and our governor. Our governor, I heard you talking about at the beginning of the hour, it's supposed to be a Republican state. Well, when the governor, he sent that letter to the president, the last administration, making us a welcoming state. And then our previous mayor had a letter that said basically the same thing, made Springfield a welcoming city. What that means is if you're a Republican, that's Republican speak for sanctuary city, sanctuary state.
Okay. We take breaks at the 10:30, so just an FYI, because I'll do what most good podcasters do. I'll interrupt you. Can you appreciate that at all, James?
Oh, sure can.
Sure.
Yeah, just tell me what you
Got it.
There's a lot of information. You just got to dig deep and kind of drill down on it. This is one of those. I know people do interviews, but this is one of those topics that is really hard to give the full picture in one interview because there's different facets to it.
America, we like the underdog. So as a citizen of Springfield, a tax-paying citizen, a hardworking tax-paying citizen of Springfield, Ohio, how you feel for these people, okay? But how far do you take that? How many people do you invite into your house, Springfield, Ohioans, to stay the night or to stay the week or to stay the lifetime? How many do you invite in your house? Well, somebody else can do that, right? Yeah.
And you say you feel for them. I feel for the young women in this town that have to deal with the rudeness of the men because they're doing all kinds of, being too forward with them because they're trying to figure out a way to stay in the country, even asking them to marry them in the middle of a grocery store, not even know them.
Yep.
Just all kinds of wild stuff.
Yeah, America is a great place to live. I mean, if you've paid any attention at all to the soccer mania that's going on in the USA, we can all look at the USA mania, what's going on with the soccer folks, because they really, really understand that they're in a place of, I said land of milk and honey, but we're an incredible nation still. Even though we're trying to destroy ourselves, we're still the greatest nation on planet Earth. And I like to say where the poor live like the kings and queens compared to other nations. It's just absolutely amazing. James, you right now, when this started, 3-4 years ago?
Like 2022.
Okay.
I think that's right about that.
Okay, that's the end of the COVID era, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they started coming in here at 2020 or two. I think it's when they decided that they were going to do a temporary protective status, but they hadn't really said anything about where they were going yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. You mentioned Diane and others and yourself. What was your initial reaction? First of all, when did you start saying, "Well, hold on a second, hold on. I think this is a bit much." When did you start noticing that?
Um, you know, I'm disabled, so I'm in the house a lot, and so I'm not out and about like a lot of the younger people are. But when I was noticing things, but when I first thought it was just like too much, uh, the house across the street from me was one of those infamous bunk houses. And there's like a dozen people living there, and it's a 2-bedroom house. And I thought that was odd, you know, and I didn't know any of the other people that had been going down to the city commission meetings or anything, because I didn't involve myself in that at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know, and the white van would pull up and blow the horn, and you know, part of them would come out and get in the van, part of them would get out of the van and go in the house, and you know, this was a daily thing, and you know, and I made a video about it. I was angry about it because I'd had, you know, words with the driver of this van, because he just in the middle of the street and just lays on the horn, you know, and you know, I asked him to please get out and go knock on the door instead of just sit out here. You know, of course they don't hardly understand you when you talk to them, but that's when I first noticed it.
Is this early morning? This early morning when this is happening?
The blowing of the horn and stuff.
Yeah.
It is early morning, but it's also afternoon, midnight sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, because the shuttle vans are owned by the temp service, and then these Haitians get rides from. At first, I'm gonna set up the structure real quick. So the Haitian Outreach Community Center greets the Haitians that came in under the TPS. And then so they would get them set up, you know, with all the paperwork they need to do, whatever vouchers or whatever they were entitled to. And then they would set them up with the temp service for those who were going to be working. And then they would set them up with the housing. And most of the housing was through the temp service. It's kind of like that, you know, coal miners, they make a hard dollar and they spend it all at the company store. Well, that temp service has got it all wrapped up, you know. Gets paid for transporting them, gets paid rent, and gets paid for having them work. So you know, so it's definitely a money racket kind of thing. Human trafficking is what it is. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's. Go ahead.
But I was going to say, so with all that, it after I made the video I made, and then that night the president did the infamous cats and dogs comment, because I'd made the video before that even happened. And then, you know, my whole life changed after that. It became crazy.
I want to hear about that. We're going to take a quick break. I want to hear about that life change. Because it's experience is a great teacher. And sometimes heat is a great teacher too. It gets close enough to you, you start noticing, right? Hey, BJ Edwards, along with Mr. Anderson, this is your last call. Our guest, James Blanken from Springfield, Ohio.
Keeping you informed. This is Last Call with BJ Edwards.
And we're back with Mr. James Blanken. So, opportunity knocked at your door, James, right?
I can call it an opportunity now. At the time, I did not see it that way. So, yeah. You know, because I'm pretty much a quiet person, and you know, not really involved in like you know, public or local politics or anything like that. You know, and after that video went viral, it seemed like I couldn't. I mean, emails, phone calls, how they got my number, I don't know. it got a little hectic, and the threats.
What were you doing? What were you doing?
I talked about the bunkhouse across the street from me. That's what I did.
Explain that for me. That we have a house that somebody is renting, but it's not really a house they're renting. They're renting beds.
Yes. So what they do is, and this ain't me saying it. This has been confirmed a few times over. Um, let's say a 2-bedroom house, and they don't mind sleeping next to strangers. You know what I mean? Apparently. So what they do is they put them in the home, and they rent out each bunk. And I'm not know what the exact dollar is today, but I think at the time it was $200 per bunk.
A week?
They would. I'm not quite sure. No, I think it was a month because it's like 1,800, I think, or 2,000 a month what they were getting out of the rent.
Okay.
It just depends on how many people are in the house, and we're talking about children too, with adults that are not their family. But so even in the living room, if they would set up these bunks, and in some cases, from what I understand, when they got tight on housing, they didn't only just rent out the bunk; they rented it out in shifts.
Oh dear God!
Yeah,
that is absolutely amazing. How many in a room would you say?
Well, you figure. So there was at least a dozen across the street from me, and I'm not exaggerating. I'd say probably 3 sets of bunks per room.
Okay.
Because it's an older home, so the rooms are a little bit larger than like a newer home.
Mm-hmm.
As far as bedroom, and then it's got the living room too. So maybe more even in the living room. But it's no longer a bunkhouse. The property got sold. There was just too much drama going on over there because they'd get in arguments. And they were so crowded in the house, they all hung out on the front porch and on the front stoop all the time. And they'd sit out there and argue with each other and they'd yell at each other in their language. So it was kind of hectic and kind of like, no peace and quiet. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Smoking cigarettes, drinking wine and beer.
I'm sure they drink. I've never really seen them do anything like that.
Okay. So that's kind of dying down a little bit, at least in your area. How many would you say, roughly, maybe you don't know, but how many of those bunkhouses do you think were in the Springfield area?
Oh, at least 75 to 80.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. And most of them owned by George 10. And that's just the ones we know of. I'm sure there's other ones that I don't know about.
Okay. A lot of court doings, a little bit of a change, or maybe a big change in temporary status. What does it look like right now with regards to Springfield and the Haitian occupation?
Okay, so they were supposed to, and I guess they lost their driving privileges last Monday at midnight. Monday they lost their driving privileges. They lost their the right to work as far as a work permit yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
So yeah. So and we've already had some violence happen. Unfortunately, there's no need for it. It just it makes the situation worse.
Yep.
Me personally, I have no ill will feelings towards any of them, as far as to be hateful towards them. It's not needed. It's not. I don't understand it, and it's not a large scale, by the way. If you listen to the news, you think they were being chased down the streets with pitchforks and torches, but it's not even nothing like that at all.
Bad news sells. Bad news sells, and the worse you can make it. When's the next city council meeting?
This Tuesday.
Okay, I'm not surprised. Do you think there's going to be fireworks? By the way, heat, and I remember reading a study on this. When it gets warmer, the amount of arguments and fights, etc., seems to rise.
That's great.
That's when it gets warmer outside, but also when it gets warmer inside, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So the next city council meeting, what do you expect to happen there? I mean, if we have employers that can no longer have these shift workers, if you will, helping them out, instead of paying them what, 3 cents an hour, they're going to have to pay somebody $21 an hour. That I mean,
Yeah. No, I
it's a choice.
know.
But
It's a hard thing to answer because they still get assistance. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going to be broke or starving or kicked out of a house. So it's just like they just lose the ability to. And what that does is that forces these companies to actually interview some U.S.
Locals?
citizens for the job.
yeah. But it should be that meeting should be very interesting in
Yeah,
Springfield.
I look for it to be very crowded.
Yep. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, with that aspect of it, a lot of times there's there's just a few of them that go to the podium every time, and people they've gotten what's the good word I'm looking for, demoralized. They got tired of being called racist, hateful, bigoted. They go down and they voice their concerns. They get 3 minutes. They're not allowed any rebuttal comments when they.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them just stopped going because they realized it was just doing nothing except putting them in the spotlight and causing issues with their personal safety.
Mm. Well, what do you mean personal safety? The regular citizen is threatened?
Yeah. I mean, and not so much me locally. I mean, I've been given comments, and especially when the video did what it did. I've been doxxed. A few of the other people that I'm talking about have been doxxed. Computers have been hacked. I've been told that if they had their way, that because I have daughters, that they would like to see my daughters raped. And that's not foreigners saying that. That's
just about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not foreigners saying it. It's Americans.
We've been programmed, brother. Our children have been indoctrinated, and it's an uphill battle. But it's ours. I mean, we're the one to let this happen.
Yeah.
So it's our battle. The mailbox that got blown up is now yours, and you're gonna have to do something about it. But you don't want to wait until that happens.
No, and that was brought to their attention at the very beginning. Like Diana, she seen the writing on the wall instantly because she noticed the quantity of people, and and a lot of they originally we got put in the spotlight when they had that tragic school bus accident.
Yes, yeah,
and and those parents, they wish that it had not been, because they have no ill will feelings towards the Haitians either. They feel bad that it was a Haitian that did it, or a foreigner. But that's between them. I was actually out of town when that happened, so I wasn't here when that first happened, and so I was kind of like missing out on the key points of what everybody else was noticing before. You know what I mean? I was like late to the game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and once I realized this, and and I didn't realize until I got woke up with the video I made, that completely changed everything. I decided if I'm gonna have bodily harm threats and all these other nasty foul things said about me, it's time for me to push back and speak out. So I started educating myself on the things that the other people that would go down to the meetings every 2 weeks and voice their concerns. And then I started talking to more and more people and realized how bad it was. And I did not realize it was that bad when I first started this little quest of mine. But it's as bad as you think it might be. It's worse.
In what regard specifically? Anything?
The numbers.
Okay.
And the animal sacrificing kind of carcass.
Oh, now, James, hold on. Come on. We all know that didn't happen. I mean, the internet and the news media said that didn't happen. So what are you talking about, James?
Well, they can come talk to me if they don't think it. Now, according to our mayor, it didn't happen. According to our mayor, they've never had any credible people bring it to their attention. Wrong. They knew they were lying when they did that first interview about that. Now, the dog thing, I don't know. Honestly, I don't. But the cat thing is real. There's been too many people that, you know, they try to blame it on a Facebook posting that, and the person, no, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And the ducks and the, you know, the Canadian geese and stuff down in the park, that's a real deal. And so, you know, and I can break that down the scenario how I'm pretty sure I can confirm it. For one thing, I've lived here all my life, and I did the obvious. I went down to a lot of these YouTube content creators and a whole bunch of other people coming in, and they were going like out to another park we have in this area, and the population is still robust in those areas. We have a lagoon at our local park to where these things are basically domesticated wildlife. They are not afraid of humans.
Okay. Yeah.
They'll walk right up to you, you know, and then they claim that there was no reports of any of these animals being taken from the park. Wrong. And they knew it. They knew there was, and they said no.
Can't have that, James. Can't have that. Can't have that.
And,
it's what
I did another video. I went down to the park, and I walked around the lagoon, and I videoed the lack of, and then I showed pictures and stuff of what it usually looks like. And so, you know, it you can say it's anecdotal, whatever. I'm thinking I'm saying that right, but the call-ins, the reports made of the people witnessing this, to me confirms it 110%, and I can probably explain real quick why.
Go ahead. Now we're going to take a quick break.
Okay, so the first one was a gentleman riding his bike, taking a shortcut through the park. First day on the job, he got a job. So he's seen four gentlemen, I believe it was, chasing the geese, and with blankets. And he called it in and called 911, and they took his report. And he told them they were Haitian. They said, well, how do you know they were Haitian? He said, because I can hear them talking. And, so he said, I'd stay here and make sure, if the police are going to show, but it's my first day at work. I got to go to work. It's a 911 transcript. That's not verbatim, but it's close. So that's number one now, or actually number two. What the mayor and them knew was a person who worked for Jobs and Family Services was 3 or 4 months before that, I think 3 months, sorry, was driving through the park doing like we all do. We take a shortcut through the park and spotted the exact same thing, 3 months difference. Well, she, working for Springfield Jobs Family Services, she called them and they said, well, and at that time they said, well, that's a park and recreations issue, not a police department issue. And so she called them and made her report with them. Now, the thing is the police report for the 911 call said that he went down there and didn't find any evidence. Well, they got down there an hour and 40 minutes later. So what evidence are you going to be finding?
Yeah, but the buzzards left.
Yeah. So you got somebody who works for Jobs and Family Services who made a report. 3 months later, a gentleman on his way to work, his first day on the job, makes a report. They don't know each other. Completely different. They don't know anything about each other, but have almost the exact same report to turn in.
Yeah,
So
amazing. We're going to take a break. I think Donna wants to come in and have a comment or two. BJ Edwards along Mr. Anderson. This is your last call, and what can we do here, folks? We like to light the candle here, not curse the darkness. Light the candle. We're setting the stage. What's going on? And we are back. We have Donna on the phone from Springfield. Donna?
Hello, and hi, James. I wanted to back up what James had said about how the people were treated while they were working. This is from a Facebook post by Kyle Kohler before he became our state senate, which covers Clark, Greene, and Clifton counties. He made a very lengthy entry on Facebook. I'm only going to read you the section about the staffing company because everything James said is true. Many people can't wrap their head around this. They don't want to believe that people would traffic people for labor. But here's what Kyle Kohler said. The staffing company that started this migration is owned by a man that has over 63 rental properties in the Springfield area. Instead of getting the normal $600 to $800 in rent each month, he rents cots, little fold-away beds, for $250 a month to as many as 20 to 25 Haitians per home. $25 for round trips to work each day. They work under contracts, preventing them from being hired full-time at their place of employment. This and the barrier of not speaking English causes them to become basically indentured servants, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Wow. Any comments on that, James? And I want to mention a little bit about Diane and how can we help? Where can we go to? What should we do?
I tell you, here's how the best way to help is this. People like Diana and the people who get up on that podium have been asking for state and federal officials to come here, talk to the citizens. We're not really expecting them to change the world or anything, but at least understand the real issues and not what the news is saying. Not what Mike DeWine is telling them.
Okay.
Not what our mayor is telling them.
State, federal?
Yeah, just representation. Our representatives for our state. Jim Jordan was supposed to come here last month, and I was actually going to that dinner because I was hoping to get a chance to talk to him and maybe get him on my little podcast for an interview. Well, he canceled it with no reschedule. That's the only person since this whole thing got started. The only other person that ever came here was Vivek Ramaswamy. And that's when he wasn't even running for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually got that idea to run for governor here in Springfield.
Okay. And if folks want more information, they want to be informed consultants to their public servants, any place they need to go, any links?
I guess I should have been better prepared. I just got off of the 13-hour podcast of my own, so I apologize for being a little, yeah.
Okay.
just your representatives, John used to, Jim Jordan, Donna probably has far more of the names by memory than I do, because I'm always busy doing something else. But I do. I've actually sent letters via email to the Trump administration myself, with no replies. I believe every one of the other people that are usually in this process that works with me on Sundays, they've all done the same thing. We ask every Sunday to do this. We say don't call, email, because then you have you have a little paper trail, electronic trail, where you call it, showing that they have enough people needing and asking for help that they can't ignore it like they can a phone call.
Is there any particular state department? And by the way, you can email and call. You have my permission. You can do both.
Yeah, you can do both. We always just say it's better to email because,
Yep.
it's in there and when they got it, because like I'm sure your email does too, tells me when somebody's received it.
Yep.
The best department, I believe,
Mhm.
would have to be the state attorney general, because of the legal aspect of the things that happen here, that the Haitians get away with, that in any other city would be arrested and deported.
Okay.
But it doesn't happen here. And there's a whole list of issues why that is. And there's a young lady, Glenda. She literally tracks court dates and cases and ticket citations, traffic citations of people here in town, and she tracks the Haitians. And the biggest problem with they're not good drivers, but when they go to court, you either, if you get 2 misdemeanors or 1 felony or something that gets bumped up to that, you automatically get on the list for deportation. Well, they are notoriously have their charges either reduced or completely dismissed, period. And then there's evidence of where they've been to court 3 times, but yet when you look at their court cases, there's no previous deal.
Absolutely amazing. And you mentioned, I think, early on the program that they've lost their licenses, but is that really going to make a difference? Are they going to stop driving?
No. I just, I was going to mention that even though they supposedly lost their privileges to drive legally, they just had a car on its side just a couple of days ago. And it was a Haitian driver.
And the police are, it sounds like from other people I've heard, including yourself, but that the police just kind of look the other way. Well, what can I do?
Well, I believe the police officers want to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the leadership tells them to, and they give all kinds of odd excuses of why you should let them go, let them drive from the accident, let them, whatever it may be. And it's usually like, well, we don't have the money to have a full-time interpreter on scene. And so it's easier just to hand them the citation and let them go on about their business. And it's odd things like that. But the police do give them tickets and all these other things. But when they go to court, that's the big failure here. There's like a running joke at the traffic court. It's every Wednesdays. It's Haitian Wednesday.
Amazing. I know you got to go. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just got a text from my friend. He told me he'd wait on me, so we're good.
Okay. Well, we're gonna let you go. So I know you have a very important task today. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my friend who I'm riding with, he miscalculated how long it was going to take to get there. That's why he's telling me don't worry about it. if you've got any questions, I'm here the whole time you need me.
Okay.
I wanted to butt in a little bit. Backing up to Ramaswamy.
Hmm.
I
Interesting.
don't know. It sounds like he just made a move to Springfield to get his name out there. And you said he maybe is look, that was his thing to get his foot in the door to run for governor. I don't know. I don't know what his motives are. Personally, I don't trust the man one iota. What politician do I trust? But I just wondered if he had done anything. I mean, as a citizen or as a political official, whatever. I heard him. I watched some of the videos of him visiting and having the town meeting there, and it sounded to me like he made a lot of promises, and I never heard any follow up to anything he said.
That's right. That's the odd thing, or the ironic thing. So he come here as no official of any kind. He had just bowed out of the presidential race, right? Or not just bowed out, but was no longer running for president. So he had free time on his hands. So he came here, and he even said, "I'm coming here as a concerned citizen. I don't have any real power." He said, "But he has ability to speak to the president personally. So that's something."
He has a lot more power than most of us citizens. He has contacts and lots of money.
Yeah, but since he started running for governor, it's crickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all of a sudden
Yeah.
a topic they don't want to touch. The thing about when he was here, though, is so he comes here as a concerned citizen. He has a closed door meeting with the Haitian community people and a closed door meeting with our leadership, the mayor and them, but had an open forum for the citizens. And
doesn't make sense.
None of the citizens were invited into those meetings, but those people were invited into the open forum with the citizens. But they didn't come. So,
Mr. Anderson, did you make a video? I'm reading. It says you want to show a deep dive on how the Haitian invasion happened.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was a comment from Rumble, and that was another question. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with band history?
Yes.
Do me a favor, Mr. Anderson. Let's take a break, and then we'll bring James Blanken. And we got a hard break we got to make at the top of the hour, and then when we come back, we'll follow up on that. Is that okay, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I don't have a 2-minute warning, but I could play that other song if you like.
No, just take the break.
Okay.
And we'll play that other song before we get into the last portion of the program.
Okay. Break
James
time.
Blanken, our guest from Springfield, Ohio. Been there doing that. And there's a lot of need just for information in terms of what's really going on. In Springfield, Ohio, but other places as well. But we're talking about Springfield, Ohio today. B.J. Edwards along Mr. Anderson. This is your last call.
Keeping you informed. This is Last Call with B.J. Edwards.
We still have our guest, James Blanken. I want to talk to you a little bit about Diane as well. Give her a plug, and maybe there's a place we can go to help her out. But Mr. Anderson, you had a question or a comment? Go ahead.
Well, I was starting a conversation about band history because he's the one that recommended this documentary he made, and he said in his comment, this is a comment I read on Rumble, that James could verify this documentary. Of course, I just saw it, and I didn't see the video. I don't have time to play it now, of course, but anyway, I just wanted to verify with you and if may have some information to share about that, because it might be good stuff.
Yeah, the documentary is basically what transpired to how they got here. and he done a deep dive. I've actually played his documentary on my podcast. I've had many conversations with him. Some of his point of views are sometimes hard to accept, but they're factual. I've looked into what he's done, and he's done a good job with this documentary. I recommend it. We were just talking about part 2 because that's part 1. He's got a part 2 he's working on. But yeah, as far as the documentaries, so far, I think I've not seen many better than this one that would give you the gist of everything that transpired to get him here.
Do we have that link, Mr. Anderson, we can put up there for the folks?
I'm trying to work that out right now. So
Okay. Fair enough. So James, talk to us about, you mentioned Diane several times, and she's very much an activist trying to resist what's going on. Tell us a little bit about her, and does she have an organization? How can we contact her?
She's just a citizen.
Okay.
She's a warrior. She's anything that I've had spoken to me or had done to me, she's had done multiple times more. She's had, threatening letters sent to her house. She's had chemicals, I'll let her, that's her story to tell, but just, foreign substances, that they tried to put on her or whatever. And her computer's been hacked. She's been doxxed. She's been verbally threatened. But she's been in contact with the FBI and stuff like that. She was actually trying to find a lawyer to take her case to sue the city because of all the things that they've done to her to try to silence her. But no local lawyer would touch it.
Well, you know what? Strange that you mentioned that. James Bond, are you with us, sir?
I am, Jim.
What do you think about this fellow looking for a lawyer in Springfield, Ohio?
Well, you ought to be able to find one there. Did
No.
you lose my voice?
No,
No.
But you've not had any luck finding a lawyer, or she's not had any luck that you know of?
Well, the local lawyers are, because this is not a large town, so it's kind of like they all know each other. They all are. I call it the good old boys club, and she has had no success having anybody take her case locally.
Has she tried on a national basis?
She has reached out to a couple people, and now, like I said, she hasn't updated me in a couple weeks of where, because she tells me, I've been talking to this person that might take the case or whatever, but those details would have to come from her. But I know that with all the things that have happened to her, I worry about her. You know what I mean? She's
Yes,
up in
I
her
do.
70s, and she's a rowdy person, rowdy person, but she's passionate, and she comes to this whole deal concerned about not just the citizens but also the Haitians.
Okay, good point.
And you would not know that by the public reporting from the media and our local leadership. And I don't know what to do for her. I'm just a citizen myself. I wish that she gets everything she needs to be, at least kept safe, and some kind of retribution, or at least some kind of I'm at a loss for the word I'm trying to find here, but
yeah, well, what we need is some justice here, and
justice. Yeah, she needs to be vindicated.
Yep, and having a lawyer, especially from one of the top firms, suddenly getting involved with this is going to bring up public opinion, and that's where we lose a lot of our battles. You mentioned the news media, whether it be the written or the online, Facebook, etc. aren't really going to favor it. So some of the times we got to do it through the podcast community. But I, I'll talk to you off air sometime, and I'll see what I know. Maybe talk to her, get the case. What her main complaints are, what her main concerns are, and then see what I can do. I know of a couple firms out there. Maybe she's already tried it, maybe she hasn't, but at least it's worth a shot. I think some citizen taking some kind of legal action. Has any citizen taken any kind of legal action yet?
Not that I know of that is like specifically, drilled down in this topic. But, when I first met Diana, she was looking for somebody to listen. You know what I mean? Not just that 3 minutes, down at the city committee. So, and my podcast, I got convinced into podcasting, believe it or not. I really didn't want to do it, but I got convinced into do it. But anyways, I had this small platform and I offered it to her every Sunday. Let's, because I'm still trying to educate myself at this point. Because like I said, I was not involved like she and a few others were. So we started doing the Sunday podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's called The Haitian Invasion, Springfield, Ohio. And then we add whatever topic we're talking about that she wants to speak on, because she goes to not just that, but she goes to the county commission meetings, and she's really involved. And so the podcasting has really been a blessing to actually reach more people than that would have heard her story if she not had this platform to do it on. And it grows every month. More and more people watch it, and I'm happy for that, because that means more and more people are hearing the truth.
If you could wave the magic wand, ideally, what would you like to see happen tomorrow, or a minute after this show's over with today? What would you like to see happen in Springfield? What are some of the solutions?
Magical? I can't wave a wand. Otherwise, it would just be done and over with tomorrow. What I would like to see is there'll be no more delays. There'll be no more, injunctions filed or trying, whatever. I know it's Supreme Court and it's not supposed to, but that's the final say. But, our government don't really pay attention to the court system if they don't like the decision anymore. So I just like to make sure, Mike DeWine does what he's supposed to do. Our local leadership do what they're supposed to do, and that the Haitians leave respectfully and not get angry or violent.
Okay.
That's my best outcome of this, but they must leave.
Can some of them stay?
If they've got their statuses changed, and not all of them are going. I mean, some of them have been able to get their statuses changed since they've been here. But the weird thing about this whole deal, because I say whatever you think is happening here, trust me, it's worse. I believe they call it the parolee paperwork, where you can file to change your status to H-1B visas or refugee status, or to file for citizenship outright. And so this paperwork, which is tracked through, I believe, our Jobs and Family Services, in 2024, there was over 32,000 of those applications filed out of Clark County.
Whoa. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that was 2024. Now, I say that because that was probably the peak, but that tells you that they didn't just send 12 or 15,000 here to work because Springfield citizen, the young ones are too fat, lazy, and drug addicted to go do these jobs, which is these that's what they put out there as far as their, and they called the Haitians the Savior of Springfield.
The
So,
Haitians?
yeah, they even
Hmm.
had a Haitian Flag Day a few years back and hung the flag up at the city hall.
Over the American flag?
I don't think it was over it. I believe they put it up. I don't know if it was even together. I think they hung one by itself. I was out of town. Like I said, there was a time when my job took me away a lot.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm kind of like the oddball here as far as catching up with everything. The podcast has helped me educate me. The documentary thing that you're looking at right there, Band History, he is very knowledgeable in all this, and we talk a lot, and he does deep dives. So I turn to those people like him and Diana and Mark Sanders and a couple other people when I have a question, because I'm still asking questions.
Hmm.
The only reason I know as much as I do know is because of my podcast, because we talk about these things on Sundays. And
What time? What time on Sundays?
7 p.m. Eastern.
And where do they go to hear those?
If you're on Rumble, it's Empty Pockets Podcast. If you're on YouTube, it's Empty Pockets Garage, and just put comma James. Because, I was a car channel. I was not a podcaster. I made silly little videos working on my car is what I did until this whole thing kicked off.
Did
Like,
that
and I always say, I'm not the best communicator. I always feel like, my inadequacy of communicating very well. Sometimes I feel like the message might not get out there like it should. So I keep trying. I keep trying to make better. As far as getting the word out there, and sometimes I'll misspeak because I have a weird brain that way. the words don't come out right sometimes.
I think I understand where you're coming from. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to take a break, and I'm gonna if you can give us 5 more minutes or so. I got one more. I got one more question for you, which I meant to ask earlier but did not. Mr. Anderson, if you could take us to a break, and then I'll ask my question, and I'll kick you out of here. James Blanken, Springfield. Last Call Radio. Hey.
Last Call with BJ Edwards. Real talk about real life.
I want to talk a little bit about healthcare services and what kind of an impact the Haitian occupation has had on that. But in line with that, are these Haitians having babies?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, they citizens? Go ahead.
Citizens or the Haitians?
No. Are the Haitians having babies? Then I'm saying they're citizens
Frequently.
frequently.
Yeah. So this information comes from people that actually work in the hospital. You know what I mean? It's not no official documentation of any kind. It is just people that work in the birthing center. And so we actually did the math a little bit one Sunday. So in 1 month they had 66, I believe, Haitian babies. Don't hold me to the exact number, but I know it was over 60. And it's like $12,000 to $18,000 to have a baby. Now that's on taxpayer dime.
Yeah.
Now the Haitians, there's a fair number of them that are HIV positive.
Yes. Thank you.
So they have the babies C-section,
Mm-hmm.
which means that it's not 12,000. It's definitely got to be up close to 18,000
Or more. Yeah.
And yes, or more, right? And the odd thing is these things are noticed by people, so it just kind of makes it weird. We know Carl Ruby is accepting these babies once they're born and they leave the hospital. So they can apparently stay here in America when their parents get deported instead of their parents taking their kid with them.
Yep.
So we're talking, I think almost 2,000 babies or something like that. And I believe Diana has the exact number, but I know it's almost 2,000 since they've been here.
Healthcare in general.
Oh,
What kind of impact has that had?
well, there's a rocking horse clinic here, and of course, to them, clinic means something a little bit different than it does us. Plus, there's another clinic north in the northern part of town. They have overwhelmed the system to the point that Governor DeWine had to infuse over $2 million into the rocking horse deal to help cover the shortfall because of how many Haitians were using the services.
The governor has a history with Haitians, doesn't he?
Yeah, he had a school, or I believe it was a school or an orphanage. It's been so long. They closed it down, I guess, after the earthquake.
Mhm.
But his, I believe his daughter, did a missionary over there,
Right.
and then I don't, she passed away. So he started this school for girls, I think it is, in her name. And he dealt with the Clintons a lot back in the day too. But like
Mhm.
him and one of the leaders of here in Springfield and Carl Ruby, they all know each other from some time back. And so this is why I believe it was it's almost like they had a meeting. Mike DeWine, Carl Ruby, the mayor, the city manager. Try to think of who else.
Yeah.
They had. It's almost like they had this meeting. Oh, George Ten. That's the other person. The guy that come in and started that temp service because they're like I believe out of Florida originally. And then the main spokesman for the Haitians, believe it or not, is from Florida. That's where he was before he come up here. So it's all these things. You can call them coincidence, but there's too much coincidence for there not to be a real connection here. I hate this. I don't like accusing anybody of anything, and I always think that people first try to do the right thing. But in this case, I've learned so much about the leadership and in this whole situation that they're not even trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do the best thing for them.
I don't know about whether they've had a meeting, but they do have an understanding.
Yeah, I mean, that's just in jest, just a joke.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as that, they do have a lot of interaction with each other.
Yep. And depend on each other. I mean, we all have those support groups of sorts, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's obvious who's in control right now. And again, awareness is very important, folks. But this isn't so you can sit down and go, okay, I know what's going on in Springfield now. Obviously, we can't go through all of it anyway. But there's Ohioans that need help, and they're taking your money and they're using it to dilute America. And they're doing a great job of it, among other things. Dilute, division. This is not necessarily coming from your elected officials. There are organizations behind them, and not necessarily in the United States. There's foreign entities that have a huge interest in our wealth and grabbing some of it. And we need to be aware of that. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, especially in Springfield right now. But you need to understand that it is we the people. And without folks like James and Diane and Donna.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Mr.
Donna's been a big help.
Well, she's my go-to.
Yeah.
She's my go-to. Don, anything else you want to leave us with? Anything we missed out? You can unmute yourself if you think so. If not, we're gonna kick James out of here. Go ahead, Donna.
Yes, I would just like to say something. Please don't think I'm petty, But it's very upsetting to me. I shop at Kroger's on East Main Street. One time a Haitian lady was in front of me and she had very little in her shopping cart. And I thought that's unusual because normally they walk out of there and Walmart with 2 carts just overflowing. So I was looking at her and she's talking to the cashier and she has this card. So she inserts the card and the cashier opens up her drawer and almost empties the cash register. She's counting it out and I'm going, oh my gosh, am I seeing what I just saw? She put in her little magic card, is what the Haitians call it. Imagine that. And she gets all this money back. Then I saw it a second time at Kroger's at the customer service desk. The man in front of me does the same thing. So he left. I asked the customer service representative, would you please explain to me? Here's what I saw. Am I seeing something? She said, oh, absolutely. I said, are you allowed to talk about it? She said, yes, in a way. She said, we're all so angry. She said, yes, he got $800. And she said, sometimes they come in here and they withdraw more than $1,000. She said, sometimes we've had to close down the customer service desk. I have a neighbor who worked at CBS. And she was telling me how they all came in there and was doing wire transfers back to Haiti. And thank goodness for President Trump. He signed an executive order that no longer are the services allowed to accept money for wire transfers. So that's my little aggravation. It's not right. They've been. I say this, maybe people that are younger don't understand it. I said the Haitians have been living high on the hog, and we live low on the hawk, but the homeless go hungry. It's a hard pill to swallow, what they've asked us to accept. Thank you so much, and thank you, James, so much for coming on the show, and you, BJ, I appreciate this. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thanks, Donna. Yeah, we never even touched on the homeless situation.
Got 3 minutes.
So, we do have a homeless problem, and they're not Haitians. You won't find a homeless Haitian in this town, but you'll certainly find a bunch of misplaced people because they got misplaced or priced out of their rentals, the properties and stuff like that. So we got people who are working and sleeping in their cars. And then, we had an issue with over the winter, the city gives money to the foundations to help with the warming centers to keep the homeless off the street when it's cold out. Well, they went bankrupt and they closed down and didn't have no plan on what to do from that point on. And, they're working it out. How good, I don't know. But, yeah, the homeless problem is a show by itself, guys.
Wow. Is. Wow. Well, I appreciate your time today. I know you're busy. You're going to help somebody else that's running for governor, I think.
Yeah, that's another controversial subject.
Yeah, I get it. Brother, we appreciate your time today. Safe journey. Keep up the good work and don't give up. I know you can't, but don't give up.
You've brought up some really valid, important points. And the most wonderful thing is having a platform like this and one of your own. This is where real people present the real problems. The media and the news and the politicians, all of these people who have a platform, they're just talking heads and they don't really speak for the people. So it's great, and I appreciate your efforts. and your song is wonderful. I like the
Incredible.
lyrics.
We got another one coming up from him too. Go ahead.
Yeah, that one's kind of different because it sounds like it's like a minister who likes to preach only love in the gospel and not the truth, and not to insult your song, but it's kind of the opposite of your first song that we played, where points out the real problems.
So you have the unlimited refill song, right?
Right.
I think that's what you
Yep.
I can tell you that was a challenge from a friend of mine who's a big soccer fan. And he was talking about the Europeans coming over here and how they are expecting one thing and, running into a different situation. And so he said, could you write a song about that? And that's all the information he gave me. So if it's not on point as good as it should be, I'm a beginner songwriter. I have Empty Pockets music on YouTube. I've got all my music on there. Check it out. But like I said, I'm not a songwriter. I'm a storyteller. So. And you do.
No, it's a good song. It's a contrast. The foreigner coming over and he experiences these good things, kind of like the Haitians getting, they get a place to sleep where it's warm or dry, and the American citizens are laying in the streets begging for an apple.
I pulled up to an intersection yesterday, and there were literally people homeless on all four corners with signs.
And I just want to commend you, and I thank you and all these other people that are speaking out. From a real sincere position.
Yes.
Giving the real picture. And thank you for your songs. Keep on writing.
Doing a great job. And I like the song, and I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm kicking James out of here. We're going to play that aforementioned song, and we're going to talk about America and unity and how we can do that. Wonderful opportunity, 250 years. So let's do this, Mr. Anderson. And thank you, James. God bless you. And
thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
The world lied to me when I went to the USA. I fell in love with America the summer while traveling sea to shiny sea. Packed up my soccer fan gear, could not wait to visit the USA for a month this year. Gonna see all of it. Everyone told me what to expect, but I had no idea. Unlimited refills, nice folks with goodwill, clean bathrooms, bright and still, good food served with a smile. Why have I been lied to all this while? I was also told by everyone in the media that the USA was also racist and evil. Under the surface, I could not find these things in a scale that was easy to see. I searched hard, but I found they lied to me. Unlimited refills, nice folks with goodwill, clean bathrooms, bright and still, good food well served with a smile. Why have I been lied to all this while? Although these things were not exactly true, what I found was much more, let me tell accomplish anything they set their mind to. So in America, all I found is this truth: let freedom ring. Unlimited refills, nice folks with goodwill, clean bathrooms, bright and still, good food served with a smile. Why have I been lied to all this while? I found out in the USA that anyone can be anything and accomplish anything they set their mind to. So in America, all I found is this truth: let freedom ring.
Last Call with BJ Edwards. Real talk about real life.
And James, our guest, is responsible for that production of that record. I love where he's coming from. He's very honest, very genuine, down to earth. You don't get a whole lot of that.
He was inspired for the right reasons. You know, he started out asking questions, and sometimes you just get knocked down for asking questions.
Are we having volume problems? I could hear it, but Donna says there's no volume on that.
On the song?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's loud in my headphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about yours?
Yeah, I could hear it. James, could you hear that as well? Thumbs up if you did. Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Thanks. In America, we've been trying to get a natural family month. We're getting variations of it. Every now and then we'll hit it. Cities, feds, etc. Can't get at this point a federal natural family month that's celebrating one biologically born man, woman, and lifelong committed monogamous relationship where there's no vision, the people perish. Why not that for a vision? It's a best practice. Yet we're struggling with that. We have a national foster care month. That's in May. Observed in the United States during the month of May every year. It began with President Ronald Reagan in 1988. Since 1988, National Foster Care Month continues to be recognized and celebrate. No Natural Family Month. How about an American Heritage Month? And that's why I wanted to play that song. We have one heck of a lot to be grateful for. We really do. We're obviously not perfect, and we're obviously not headed in the right direction. But that doesn't change. I mean, you just heard the song. The soccer fans that came over from all parts of the world, they've been told one thing, and they're seeing quite a different one. So why don't we celebrate it? And I kind of got the idea. I think I mentioned on our program last week that on the local next door social app, I put a post in, and the post basically said the founders didn't expect us to agree; they expected us to endure. And then I said, with that in mind, I request actually a wish or a prayer for you, Will. I put this out on July 3rd. Starting Saturday morning, July 4th, and for the rest of the day, please consider complimenting folks on this site, as well as others, your family, neighbors, and associates. Find one thing you like about them and then share it. Please. We're so blessed as a nation, and we need to know that our strength is in our unity, and our adversaries know that. Have a great 4th and be grateful that you live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. I like the reaction that I got, or the lack of reaction that I got, actually. a lot of positives. There was a couple people that wanted to do their complaining, but I didn't have to say anything. The people that did the hearts and the like it took them to task, said they did not understand the assignment. I'm sorry, folks. Nobody's totally worthless. They could always serve as a horrible example, right? Being a little ornery there. But we are.
Well, yeah, but yeah. Your perspective of a place you're visiting all depends on what part of the city you're visiting.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get different pictures. And that was kind of the point I was trying to make with James in the difference of the two songs he wrote here. One is a perspective of somebody who is showing the town. Here, we get this, we have all of this. But over here on the other side of town, we don't want you to see.
Kind of like there's a house and a room there that you don't want people to see.
The people sleeping in the streets.
Yep.
And they don't get a free refill if they get a coffee at all.
Right.
We've got two different perspectives. We remember those folks down in Western North
Carolina.
There we go. Western North Carolina. It's a different state. In the same state. If you go to Western North Carolina, you see one thing. If you make it to Asheville or one of the more touristy places of interest, everything looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we know different.
Right. And where I
don't want, I'm sorry, I use this paintbrush, but perspective is real. And we need to unify
mm-hmm.
in helping those in need.
Who's we and what's need?
Hungry people.
In our family or strangers?
Both.
Okay.
Some people can't be helped. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just stubborn in their own ways. But look, the first hour discussion was, they're going to city council, city officials, and asking for help, and they're not getting any answers. What's happening there?
But they haven't given up.
No. And we won't. We're Americans.
Right. And that's where I come from, Mr. Anderson, is, okay, look, I see where we're headed. We're not headed in the right direction. So how do we turn this around? And I like to accentuate the positives. And yeah, you have guests here, and they're possibly going to be treated a little bit different. But if you're a bartender or you're a food supplier, you don't necessarily know the individuals that you're going to be talking with, where they're coming from. Nor does the chef in the back, nor the street cleaners. So I think we have an incredible amount to be grateful for. And yes, we're headed in the wrong direction. And I want to say, okay, here's a positive, like the Natural Family Foundation. Here's a positive. Let's look at this. Let's shine the light over here and push that end. And yeah, there's going to be other things that need to be taken care of. But if the nation's destroyed, nobody's going to be taken care of. And we are heading, between the, where are we at time-wise? Between the religion of peace and liberals and progressives and communists, we got a lot coming at us. So, how do we handle that? We elect a radical Muslim to be the mayor of the largest city. I think New York's still the largest city in America. What kind of sense does that make, and how do we get out of that? How do we turn it around? They're saying that everything's bad. Look over here, that's bad. Look over there, that's bad. It needs to be changed. I'm going, whoa, hold on. This is good over here, and that's good over there. Why don't we have more of that? And more individual involvement in it as versus the government. That's how we ended up with government-run schools. Not my job, right, as a parent to educate my child? Not my job. Somebody else's. No, it is your job. Well, I'm not qualified. Your child, when they're 3 months old, are you qualified? Are you a doctor? Are you an expert in that to take care of a child? No. But you seem to manage. And it's a lot easier to do here than it is any other place on the face of the earth. So yeah, we're not perfect. We're not headed in the right direction, but we need to do some positive things to get us back to where we have, there is an individual in Springfield that I was made aware of that is not a Christian, but wants to make a difference, a positive difference in Springfield. I'm not going to point out the things that we disagree on. I'm going to point out the things and accentuate the things we agree on to kind of heal that wound so we can go on to the next positive step. But it's like the post I put in there. Let's hear positives, folks. Let's hear positives. And then let's take advantage of those and accentuate those. Don't have a whole lot of folks here to comment today, do we?
No, we don't.
Miss Norm a lot. Nobody's doing well. So I think we're about due for a break.
Okay.
I guess you need a new name.
I used to believe everything I'd see on the news, but that's before I discovered a brain.
A brain is meant for everyday use. Those living with moderate to severe stupidity have seen immediate improvement in common sense with a brain.
I thought the government had my best interests at heart, and then a friend told me about a brain.
Talk to your doctor about what news sources you obey. A brain may also lower your desire to take life-altering advice from celebrities.
Getting lectured about my carbon footprint from people with 3 private jets used to make sense. But thanks to a brain, now I can think for myself every day. When my disregard for 3rd grade biology began to flare up, I knew it was time for a brain.
Do not try a brain if you're allergic to a brain. Common side effects may include accountability, discernment, homeschooling your kids, a better understanding of economics, awareness of the stupidity of socialism, and diarrhea.
For tethering yourself to reality, the only no-brainer is choosing a brain. Ask your doctor if a brain is right for you.
For more information, visit tryabrain.com.
Faith, discussion, and so much more. Last Call with BJ Edwards.
Couple tasks for you. Number one, follow us on Rumble, folks. Please get your friends to do so as well. And we're still not giving up on the family. Communists haven't given up on the family. Karl Marx said it in 1848. He called for the abolition of the family. The family was already absent among the proletariat. Marx and his co-author Frederick Engels wrote, and among the bourgeoisie, the family was a mere money relation. Marx said that communism will ensure that children will be educated by the state and not by the parents. A lot of arguments about property taxes here in Ohio. Amazing. Your local mayor, if you have a personal relationship with them, state representative, whether or not you have a relationship with them, the federal government, help us push for American Heritage Month. Just asking for it, folks, will make a difference. Just the ask. You can do it in the form of a question. You know, what do you think? You're probably going to get a representative's representative. And I did talk to one of those this week for about 20, 25 minutes. Talk to a representative or representative and ask them, 250 years, America. Wouldn't it be great to have a national heritage month, an American Heritage Month? There is no American Heritage Month, a unified American Heritage Month. There are variations. You could have an Asian month, American month, or whatever nationality you want to pick. Yeah. All kinds of months, but what we're trying to do, folks, is to unify this nation. And we're welcome for your ideas in terms of unification. But what we're talking about is not one side, a Fox News, the other side, a Democrat representative or a progressive or a liberal telling us how bad the other person is. We need to be done with that. I want to hire you as a public service because of what you can do, not out of fear about what their opponent will do. Those days have to be over, folks. Lesser of the evils. Look where we are. Look what we're considering. I think it's California just passed a law where you can kill a born child, I believe, up to a month after they're born.
Unbelievable.
Did you hear me? After they're born. Minnesota is trying to do the same thing. Go ahead.
Well, and these are the negative things, and but their euthanasia is becoming a common practice among the European
and Canada. Northern exposure, big time.
Canada, I think, is one of the worst.
Yep.
And in Netherlands, so yeah, ending life either early or later is what's happening to people's mind about the desire of life. I guess that's a good reason to get back to what you're talking about. Let's think about some positive things. Well, why do you want to live? Why do you want to preserve life?
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that we should be looking at.
It's what we're seeing.
It's what we're seeing. Well,
I'm sorry. It's what we're being shown. It's what we're being shown.
The soccer player saw something different.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it'd be a little bit different if it's being held in, let's say, China or Russia? You think we'd be getting these kind of reports?
I really don't know.
They have a place for them called prisons. The centers. We have a female basketball player that could probably attest to that somewhat. It's listen, Natural Family Month. They can still declare that. I talked to my representative about that. I talked to Congressman, the office, Representative Mary Miller, Republican Illinois. I spoke with somebody in her office this week as well. She's introducing a resolution to end official celebration of Pride Month and rename June in honor of traditional family month. So wait a minute, June's gone. Don't worry about it. Now is an ideal time to do that. It's not in their peripheral vision now, or it is in their peripheral vision now. It's not right in front of them. Now is the time to do that. Representative Mary Miller Republican Illinois, have your congressman help her out. She still wants to get that bill passed.
In Illinois.
In Illinois. Well, no. She's a federal representative. This is a national request. And she's got several folks that are along with her, but it's kind of like the situation in Ohio. You've got the here you got the LGBTQ MAFIA that won't allow us to even consider. Well, they allowed us to consider, but you can't put it on the floor. The Natural Family Month. Arguments on both sides. But the leadership in the state of Ohio, which should change, needs to change, has to change, is saying, nah, there's people that I know that don't want this on the floor. They don't want this discussed. It's going to make them feel uncomfortable.
Never mind our feelings.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They have the stage. They have the stage. They've asked to just sweep the floors. And next thing you know, they're doing all the star roles, all the production, and they don't need you. And if you dare try to step back on that stage, they'll make a bad person out of you. Maybe have you arrested.
Or heckled, or doxed, or all those things that they do.
Have certain liquids thrown at you. Sometimes solids. It's a wonderful time, folks. We got a lot of opportunities out here. A lot of opportunities.
So American Heritage Month, what would that look like?
Let's just say the first week would be Independence Week, right? July 4th. And then the second week we could have founding fathers. Celebrate them. You might have an American History Month. You might have, how about a military month? Or I'm sorry, military week. Celebrate the military.
And the families. Let's bring the families back.
Well, yeah. That's the founders. When you talk about the founders, talk about their families and what happened there. Yeah, maybe American families.
That's what brought people here in the first place.
Yep.
Was to keep their families together in one accord, if you will, one faith.
Where there's unity. We started the show off talking about dissolution, division. And that's why I want to bring, listen, we have a lot on the table here in America. Folks have given their all so we could have the opportunities, the freedoms that we have today. And to be honest with you, we're abusing them. Absolutely abusing them. Or changing them, bastardizing them, making them what they aren't. Separation of church and state, give me a break. Yeah, well, yeah, there is a separation. The state has to stay the heck away from the church. That's the separation.
Yes, good idea.
That's, yeah, I'm all for that separation. But we've taken the 1965 legalized contraception, pornography in 69, abortion in 73, homosexual 2003, homosexual marriage 2015, 10 Commandments off the walls, Bible out of the rooms. And what do we got? We've got man's religion. We're worshiping men. Not our creator, but men.
That's the biggie, isn't it?
Yep. And we've totally forgotten about the laws of nature and nature's God, which are specifically mentioned. The founders knew why they were here. They knew what they were doing. And when I love the natural because it's a term you can use, which basically is a bridge to getting people educated on righteousness. Natural laws, physical, spiritual. Children need a mother and a father, one male, one female. And that has to be one male, one female. You take one of them away, there's problems. Check our prison systems out. They'll attest to that. Yes, there's abuse and There's exceptions. There's always exceptions, but in America, we've kind of made the exceptions a rule. Anything goes. What about? What about? What about? And then our government run schools that teach kids that, life has no meaning, morals are relative. We have painted ourselves into a corner, folks, into a corner. We have no right to complain when we get our feet wet. But we do have a right to make things right. An obligation, if you will. You're born with a software package that tells you what the difference is between right and wrong. You know the difference. And when you practice the wrong, again, look where America's turning into. Look at the possibilities we have in 2 years. We may have a president that's going to spend the rest of his term fighting to stay in office. Because you know that if the Democrats get the Senate or the House or both, well, heaven forbid, it's going to be 2 years. 2 years. It's just, so we want to avoid that. We want to avoid that. You got to vote. You got to vote your conscience. Appreciate James coming in today. And I hope this has been educational to you in terms of Springfield, Ohio, and other places actually. But it needs people like James and Diane and all the folks we're talking about, the coaches of the world. It's and Donna, just absolutely incredible. Mr. Anderson, I got to get out of here. I got a place I got to go to, meet some people, and talk about the natural family.
That's what you need to do. And you have a good audience. We'll appreciate you, and safe travels.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you, James. Appreciate it.
So I'm looking for the right segue out of here.
Follow us on Rumble.
Join us next week for Last Call with BJ Edwards.